All right, guys, good morning. 500 calling QQQ. 1210. Yeah, sure. Roderick. That would be very bullish. How's it going, everyone? Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another week, December 6th. What do we got? How many weeks until the end of the year? Only like a few more, right? 1, 2, 3. 3 more weeks. I guess you could call it 4. That's crazy. Almost 2022. So, welcome to the stream. Welcome back to another week. This week, I think, is going to be very, very important. I think there's a lot of things that we need to be focused on the NASDAQ before taking any trades. That's sort of my feeling. Definitely watching what we do here at the 50 SMA at the September highs on both the S&P and the NASDAQ. This morning, we're already seeing the Dow outperforming, so we're seeing some NASDAQ weakness this morning. We're seeing a little bit of underperformance on tech, and that is something that we need to look at today, because maybe you get that to continue throughout the rest of the day. Maybe you have your Dow stocks that start to perform. The Dow stocks are the ones that are up here this morning. So I'm going to pull up real quick. You have like stocks like Costco, Home Depot, American Express. All your Dow names are the ones that are performing this morning. So those are the hot ones. And then you have your tech names that are weak again. Nvidia, Tesla, Shopify, Amazon, all at the bottom of my watch list for the biggest downside moves this morning. So those are going to be very important. Home Depot, I think, is going to be one to watch today off of this Dow strength. That was actually something that I traded on Friday. Took a small loss on, just didn't work out intraday, but looks like it could be heating up again. So there's definitely some stuff to watch today. Definitely a lot of key levels on the market, on the futures, and we need to definitely take a look at that today. So welcome to the stream. Hopefully you guys, if it's your first time here, press the like button. If it's not your first time here, you can still press the like button for me. I appreciate it. I appreciate your guys' support. Let's go ahead and get started. So today is 12/6, and here is what we are going to be looking at. So futures, we always look at the futures here. NASDAQ, S&P, Dow. We'll throw in the Russell too, because some people have been wanting to look at the Russell. So we'll look at all 4 of the futures, get a good idea of it. If you maybe missed that, if you're rewatching this video, and you miss it or something like that, go check out my video yesterday where I go over that as well. I go over the futures levels that I'm watching today. So do that. Earnings calendars, and economic calendar we will look at. I'm not sure. I didn't even get to look at the economic calendar today. Pending home sales at 10 o'clock, so nothing this morning. And then you still have, so we do have a little bit of, we'll pull that up in a second. We do have some Fed talking today again. So another thing to definitely keep a close eye out for. And then, of course, the earnings calendar, so we'll pull those up in a second. Costco, nice little retest on Costco. And if the Dow is strong, then I think this could be one to watch today, guys. But that is going to be dependent on if the Dow holds up, continues its strength. If the Dow holds up, continues its strength, I think this Costco and this Home Depot, these 2 names should find some strength if you get that outperformance on the Dow Jones. So Costco, Home Depot, we'll look at both of those. Tesla, under 1,000 this morning, guys, and we've seen it be support in the past. So, that's very contingent on the overall market, right? If the market finds support today, then maybe Tesla does find support at this 1,000 area. If the NASDAQ is weak again, then I can probably, you can sort of see why there would be some more downside on Tesla. I think it's very contingent on what the tech market does. What outperforms today? What does today bring? It's very hard to know, before market open, to try to predict that kind of stuff. But at least we just have to get a plan in order. Nvidia, key support, sitting at it this morning. That's going to be critical. Upstart, still watching an uptrend. I want to show you guys. XLF, so banks, financials have not really been doing much lately, sort of been sliding lower. Is this an environment where you start to see maybe a little bit of strength in the financials, in the Dow names, maybe a little bit into safety? So XLF, I'm definitely keeping an eye out for. I think Goldman Sachs is Yeah, Goldman Sachs is up about $3 this morning. It's up towards the top of my watch list as for like the pre-market change. Goldman Sachs is up there, so I want to keep an eye on banks as we start to move into this sort of sort of sketchy time for the market on some of the tech names. Sometimes you'll see some strength in financials, so I'm keeping an eye on XLF. Pepsi had a killer Friday. When the market was pretty ugly, Pepsi did fantastic. So outperformance on Pepsi last week. Let's take a look at that. And then finally, Roblox. I really am keeping an eye on Roblox. There's a nice little flag pattern on the 4-hour chart that I want to keep an eye out for. So that's my schedule. And then you guys, if you are a member of the channel, you can go to my community tab, which I'll go ahead and post a link to in a second. And you can put the tickers that you want to look at today. We'll look at those after I go through this schedule. So if you go to the link I sent in the chat, I'll pin it to the top of the chat. And if you are a member of the channel, you can go ahead and put your tickers there. It's gonna look like this. Right here. You're gonna see this link right here. It's gonna say week of 1206 live stream, and then you're gonna be able to put your tickers there if you'd like to join. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the real quick. I should start putting the earnings and economic calendar first. I think we should start with that. So let's start with that. Earnings calendar this week, right here. Let's pull it up. All right, here is the earnings calendar. Yeah, AbbVie. I've had AbbVie for a while. I'm still holding those December or January contracts on AbbVie, ABBV. We can take a look at that. So this week, not crazy. Nothing. Let's see. AutoZone. I don't trade that. Very large spreads on that name. Nothing there. ChargePoint. I think some of you guys trade ChargePoint. Probably. Stitch Fix is another decent one. Toll Brothers Housing. Nothing great. GameStop Wednesday. GameStop earnings. Udemy. That's like an online education. What else? UiPath. I used to use that in my corporate job a lot. UiPath. What else? Our House. That's a great. You guys ever been to Our House? Beautiful furniture. Lululemon. Okay. Thursday, Lululemon, Chewy, Costco. All right. So Thursday after hours looks to be the big one, or at least the one that I'm going to be more interested in. Oracle, Broadcom, Costco, Chewy, Lulu. Those are some decent ones. So that's interesting. Keep an eye on that Thursday. So there's your economic calendar for the week, guys. Screenshot the screen if you want, so you guys know it, or just go to earningswhisper.com. So yeah, that's your earnings calendar. We'll look at it every day on the live streams if you guys miss anything. But Thursday right now looks to be the one that I would be focused on. MongoDB. I think I've heard of that. Where is that? Oh, that's today after hours. Yeah, I'm not so much going to go, play earnings on stocks that I've never traded before. It's just not really a strategy that I'm going to get into. But if you guys are interested, there you go. Economic calendar. Here's economic calendar. Let's make sure we are aware of this. So today, right here, you got pending home sales at 10 o'clock. That could be interesting on some housing names. 3 p.m. New York Fed President John Williams gives opening remarks. 3:05, this is when Jerome Powell comes on, gives opening remarks. And 5 o'clock, Michelle Bauman speaks on indigenous economies. I'm not sure what that's going to be about. Maybe this Jerome Powell at 3:05 gives the market a little bit of question marks. See what he talks about there at 3:05. I'm not that in tune with what's going on at this meeting, so don't criticize me if I don't sound educated here, because I just don't know. I need to look into more about what's going on here at this meeting. So I'll definitely be looking into that. And then the rest of the week we'll just keep updated on it. You got the same Powell and Yellen CARES Act meeting here tomorrow. Oh no, I'm sorry guys, I'm on the wrong week. Sorry. Wrong week. Thanks to Shumbi. All right. Take back everything I just said. Sorry. Very, very sorry. Take it all back. Wrong week. Today, nothing scheduled. All right, so that's a little bit better. Nothing scheduled for today. Tomorrow, trade deficit. Wednesday, job openings. Thursday, jobless claims. So this is like a normal. This is a normal looking week here for economic news, which is actually sort of relieving. So nothing today. Normal stuff Tuesday. Normal stuff Thursday, Friday. Jobless claims, inflation, CPI. That's the normal schedule. Thursday, Friday, CPI, jobless claims. All right, so I feel a little bit better there. Sorry, guys. I apologize. I actually did have coffee this morning. I just totally overlooked that. So this week, today in particular, nothing on the on the calendar. So good to know. So there you go, guys. Nothing today, and then our normal schedule as usual for the rest of this week. So we'll keep updated on that. Sorry again, a little bit of a mishap for me. All right, so now it's futures time. This is what I really like. I like the charts. Hate focusing on this economic stuff, but we have to, right? We have to. All right, so NASDAQ, let's start further out. Let's go really far out to closer in. Let's start with the weekly chart. So here's the weekly chart. Weekly chart, if you guys watched my video yesterday, 20 SMA on the weekly chart has held since October. The first test was October of 2020. So October of 2020, that was a year, that was 14 months ago, right? So since that time, which is this test right here, I guess you could call it here, there has not been a time where the NASDAQ has fell and held under the 20 SMA. For 14 months straight, we have continued to bounce off this 20 SMA on the NASDAQ. So we are coming into another test here on the NASDAQ, another 20 SMA test on the NASDAQ. So right here, you guys can see we are getting awfully close to that pullback. It looks similar to some of these previous pullbacks. You guys know the market is like a stair step higher and an elevator down. It happens every time. Stair stepping higher, elevator down. Stair step higher, elevator down. Stair stepping higher, and a really fast move to the downside. And this continues to happen over and over again. And that is why the typical emotions and typical reactions to market downside is fear, because it happens so quickly. Like within a matter of 2 weeks, a matter of 3 weeks, you move down 5%, 6%, 7%. And that causes that emotion, right? Because you have 2 weeks, which we moved down almost 7.5%, where over like this time frame, this was over about 113 days, so getting close to right around 4 months, we moved up like about 18%. So it took a very sort of very slow slope to the upside and then a very sharp move to the downside. So what I'm trying to say is that if you are someone that likes to play off of historicals, what happens in the past, if you take statistics into play here, you would assume that the statistics are on the side of the market holding here. Now, of course, there's other things to consider. You have end of year approaching, a lot of market outflows. You have inflation fears coming in. You have virus concerns coming in. So you have a lot of stuff sort of affecting the market right now. So do you believe that the market holds here at the 20 SMA? You know, I could see the bearish case. I could see the bullish case. There is both. Both cases make sense to me. So how do you play this? You just really have to be aware of the risk that you have on your portfolio. That's what I would assume. You just want to make sure that you're putting on risk that you can afford to lose during these somewhat questionable times here on the market, right here at the 20 SMA on the weekly chart. That's how I'm sort of approaching this. I don't want to have too much to the downside. I don't want to have too much risk to the upside. I want to wait to see what happens here on the market, right around this 20 SMA. So do we start to see, I think the key, if you guys look at the last few times here, let's say the last 2 attempts of the 20 SMA on the NASDAQ on the weekly chart, look at the wicks that formed on the weekly chart. You see this wick and this wick. Those 2 wicks right there, this one right here and this one right here, those 2 wicks sort of gave away a little bit of a bullish sentiment, right? Because it's sort of that, I think people call it what are they? I'm not big with the wicks, but I think this is like a shooting star doji. if you close on towards the top of the doji, that is sort of that's a bullish indicator, because you moved down, you closed higher, and you definitely pushed towards the top. You guys can see those wicks. So if we see one of these wicks come in, I think that would probably be a very good look, because if you see that wick again, that's 3 times in a row that you get that wick. That could be somewhat of an indicator of some support. So let's look to see what happens this week. I think this weekly candle, guys, like this, you see this candle right here? This is going to be a weekly candle. It's going to, over the next week, you're going to see what this candle does. If this candle that we're going to see this week shows you some type of support, similar to, let's say, the weeks like these, then you probably get a nice move, right? You can sort of tell maybe what could happen here. So that's what I'd be watching. Hammer candle, yeah. That's what I'd be watching, guys. I would focus on this week, see what this weekly candle does. I think this weekly candle will give you some more insight on what this market does. That is what I think, that's what I want to do. I want to make sure I stay patient to see what this weekly candle does. Here's the daily chart. You get a little bit more in depth here on the daily chart. You look to see if this thing can hold these September highs. That's sort of what I'm looking at. You guys can see these September highs from back here, late July, early September. Hold on, I'm sorry, late August, early September. That would be a potential support level here on the daily chart. You guys can see you can move this over, and you start to find some support here. Now, you also have that 50 SMA. So, do you get that 50 SMA hold today? That's what I'd be watching. That would be the support that I'd like to see. Now, if you do get that 20 SMA if you get that 20 SMA on the weekly chart, what you guys will notice is I'm going to go ahead and really quickly show you something. So, if you guys look at the weekly chart, you see where I have these two gray circles at? These 2 gray circles on the weekly chart, 1 and 2. Those 2 gray circles come in a little bit lower than where we are right now, right? Because those 2 gray candles that I just put on my charts that you guys saw on the weekly chart are right here around that 100 SMA on the NASDAQ. So 100 SMA hold and 100 SMA hold. So if we want to see the market pull back to that 20 and find support on the weekly chart, then we might need to see this thing down a little bit lower here, right, on the daily. That's right around this 100 SMA on the daily. So maybe you need a little bit more downside to hit that weekly 20 SMA, then push back higher. That's another scenario. I'm looking to see if the September highs hold here, right around this 15.7 and right around this 50 SMA. If that does not hold, then I think you come down to the 100 on the daily, which correlates to the 20 on the weekly. So hopefully you guys sort of got that. I know it's a lot of 20s and 50s and 100s thrown out there. Daily chart, 50 SMA, September highs. That's where we're at right now. That's very key. And then if we move lower, 20 SMA on the weekly chart. That's where I definitely want to see us hold. So that's it, guys. That's the NASDAQ. If we go into the shorter term time frames, I want to show you guys one thing that I don't really like that I saw this morning, and I'll show it to you right now. This morning, which I did not like to see, we rejected off 15,700, which I didn't really want to see happen. Because here's the last, this is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of last week. And here's your 15.7 level that I just sort of put on your charts. The 15 September highs. What you guys will notice is that right around this 15.7, if I go into the shorter term time frames, you can see that we rejected that 15.7 here. Here, sort of rejected it here, and potentially rejecting it again this morning. So I do not want to see this 15.7 get rejected. If that happens, that is a little bit, that's a little concerning, because you can see, look at the support that came in. Look at how it turned into resistance. If you get this move this morning into 15.7 and you start to consolidate and you break down, that is not a good look, guys. So I would definitely be very cautious this morning. Make sure you see 15.7 break. If you are looking to be bullish today, you need that 15.7 break today on the NASDAQ. If you don't get that, if this thing pushes higher and starts to reject, this is not going to be a good look, because that is previous support turning into resistance. You do not want to see that happen. So that's big. 15.7 today, guys. If we go to the hourly chart, I just want to show you one more thing before we move on. And it is right here. I want to show you this real quick. This is the next level to the upside. And it is where we rejected last week. So right around here, you guys can see we had support, support. We broke under it. And when we came back and retested it, we had a nasty, nasty rejection. That was the level that we were watching last week. You guys can see this previous support, push higher, nasty rejection, move lower. So this 15.8 is big here on the NASDAQ. You guys can see it very clearly. That is going to be a resistance level. And then in the very short term, 15.7, you want to see us get above that. If we do not get above that, that is going to be a nasty rejection. So that's the levels on the NASDAQ, guys. Some very important things. This right here, this very short-term look that I'm showing you right now, this should be on your watch this morning. You should definitely have a NASDAQ chart up this morning. You should be looking to see if the NASDAQ breaks this 15.7 level, because if it does not, things definitely could be moving lower. That could be a very nasty rejection. All right, ES, S&P 500, very similar. Here we go, guys. S&P 500, 100 SMA on your chart. Where is it? On the daily chart, just put it on your charts. It's pretty easy right here. 15.4. All right, ES weekly chart. All right, so 20 SMA, guys. That's the same. It's the same exact type look here for the ES. We hit the 20 SMA last week. We bounced off of it. We're finding some type of support now. I sort of want to see some of these wicks come in. Look at what happened the last time. Look, see these wicks. Every time we hit it, we sort of wicked higher, wicked higher, wicked higher over about 3 to 4 weeks. So do we get that same sort of curl back higher here on the ES? Do we get some wicks and do we start to curl back higher? That's what I'm watching here on the weekly chart. So I definitely need to see what happens on this weekly candle that is starting today. Daily chart, I will say this looks a little bit more bullish because you can start to see the hold that's coming in. It's not perfect, but it's starting to try to hold those September highs right around here, that 45.40 level. You can see it's starting to try to hold, which is also right there at the 50 SMA. Very similar to the NASDAQ, right? If we go to the shorter term time frames, you guys can see that that the ES here over the shorter term time frames is definitely trying to hold this little demand zone from September. See, it moved down lower into it today, found some pretty quick support. So I think, guys, this week you're going to want to see this hold, the September highs. If I go back to the daily chart, you definitely are going to want to see these September highs hold here on the ES. If that does not hold, then I think you're coming lower, maybe the 100, which is right around 44.86. That's going to be big. If we go to, let me look at this last week, trying to see where I think that, you start to get into clear a little bit. Let me zoom out here. So, I mean, it's just in a pretty nasty downtrend. So I would say, I would assume, first of all, you're going to want to see this break, because look at what happened every time it touches on the ES. We sort of talked about this downtrend last week. So all of last week was just a nasty downtrend. Bounce into it, rejection, bounce into it, rejection, bounce into it, rejection. If we bounce into this again, you guys know what you're going to be looking for here on the ES. You do not want to see that rejection, right? You are going to want to see a break of this uptrend. So that's what I'd be watching on the ES. If you are bullish, watch for that ES, the break of that uptrend or that downtrend here on the hourly chart. If you are bearish, I would probably be looking for these low day breaks right around here. If you start to break down there, then you're probably coming down to that 100. All right, that's the ES. Those are the levels I'd be watching. Here's the Dow. If we go to the daily chart, here is the Dow. So the Dow started range bound as of right now. You guys can see didn't quite get back to the 33.5, which is slightly concerning. Is this just sort of holding on to thin air here? Sort of, in a way. You're starting to get a little bit of a push higher on the Dow names after this little virus scare that came out. Underperformed the worst and could definitely find some kind of sympathy bounce here. But this is definitely a little bit of a sideways channel. If you push higher, you're probably going to find rejection at this 35.5 for sure. If we go into the shorter term time frames, the one thing I will say that is somewhat interesting is maybe the start of some type of inverse head and shoulders. I'm not so bullish on that fact because I don't really know if that's very solid, if that's very legitimate there. If we go to the 4 hour, you can see it even better. So here you go, guys. Here is on the 4 hour. You can see a little bit of a left shoulder, head, right shoulder. You would definitely need this thing to explode higher this week. And I think that will probably push you into this previous support. This will definitely turn into resistance here. You guys can see, look at this previous support. Look at how we cracked through it right here. I think if you try to move higher this week, then you're definitely going to find some pretty tough levels here around this 35.5 for sure. So that's the YM. I'm just keeping an eye on the Dow today to see if it gets that type of rotation. If I see that rotation come in, then I'm a little bit more interested. Russell just looks like a really ugly downtrend. I don't think I'd be playing the Russell here. The only thing I'd say is you can try to channel trade it. You could try to just take this off support down here at 2110, 2100. If you just trust the channel, that's really what I'd say. You're not really quite back down to where I'd trust it, which is really back down to this 2100. You still need about 74 points to get back to 2100. So as of right now, not very bullish on the Russell. You guys can see it's similar to the SPY where it's just sort of a downtrend. You're definitely going to want to see that downtrend break before looking for any type of bullish movement here. Yeah, we can quickly look at the VIX. You guys know the VIX is extended. It's right around, let me go to the weekly chart. VIX is up here and right around this 30 handle, right around 30. What is it at today? 29, right near 30. So if you guys are not familiar, the VIX is mean reverting, meaning that it always moves back to the mean after, fear sort of slows down. So this is just I think the VIX is going to be driven by, I would assume the VIX is very driven by fear in the market. It is fear in the market. And that's somewhat mostly caused by, media news articles like virus concerns, inflation. It's not so much just media, but things going on in the economy, right? Inflation fears, virus fears. When that started to hit the market, you guys start to see the VIX increase, right? Because fear is approaching into the market. So you're getting that VIX extension. That's definitely affecting, it's definitely causing some uncertainty, definitely causing some fear. But, the VIX can quickly come down, guys. So, people I don't agree with charting out the VIX, like doing analysis on the VIX, because it's not really a stock that you do analysis on it, or a stock. It's not really a security that you do analysis on. It's a mean reverting fear index in a way. And, if this thing cools off, it happens in a matter of a week. So you guys can see the VIX comes down very quickly. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, straight down. So, if this market cools off, if the fears start to cool off, this thing's going to skyrocket or, shoot straight back down the VIX because it's mean reverting. It's always going to revert to the mean here of the VIX. So that's what the VIX showing. It's extended. People are probably a little concerned about it, but I'm just going to keep an eye on what these futures are doing today. I think that's the key. You can keep an eye on that VIX as well. That's what I would say. So that's the futures, guys. Very key levels that we need to watch today. In my opinion, I would be watching those levels before taking any action. All right, Costco. Costco, I like if the Dow has that continuation, right? If it's contingent on the Dow strength. So Costco last week pulled back from its peak, which it was really killing it, almost 8%, pulled back in a matter of 3 days. Back to this previous high. You can see their support came in pretty nicely. And you can see we are trying to push higher here into the 528, right? So pull back, hold at the 515, push higher off that retest, and you are trying to hold this 20 SMA here. So I think if the Dow is strong today, if you find that rotation, then Costco could be one that holds. If we go to the 5-minute chart, I'll show you guys that green demand zone. You guys can see right here. Nice hold off of it. Nice bounce. Nice consolidation. Daily chart. You can see right there. Yeah, earnings this week. Earnings this week, definitely interesting. So 515, nice hold right here. Previous highs, nice hold. Maybe pushes higher, but yes, earnings sort of in the way, but this could definitely be a trade. Pre-earnings, trade it into earnings. This is interesting. I'm going to definitely watch Costco today. Remember, guys, these are trade ideas. You don't have to trade them. Just an idea. Home Depot. If you go to the 4-hour chart, you have a little bit of a 4-hour flag, which I tried to play last week, just sort of failed on me, just because of the weekday that we had on Friday. So a little bit of a flag here on Home Depot, little 4-hour flag that formed. We started to break out of it on Friday, got a little bit of resistance, and started to just move under this flag. So this morning, you see that Home Depot is starting to break out of this flag again. So does Home Depot make its move this week? Does the Dow rotation help Home Depot here? That is something that I'm going to be watching. Does this move out of this flag? Does it break highs over 416.50s? If it does, is there a trade here? This is something I'm definitely watching this week. Home Depot looks very, very strong, and definitely has been strong. So Home Depot's the next one. Dow strength, I think you get a move there. Tesla. So Tesla's looking a little bit questionable here, right? I mean, look at this. Look at this very, very key support that is coming in here, right? So you have this sort of formation. You could call this a flag, but if this thing breaks here, then you are no longer considering this a bullish flag, because this is going to need to hold here. Previous support multiple times, $1,000 psychological. Does it try to move back higher this morning? Does it try to push back into the thousands? Does it reject off the 1,000? That's what I'd be watching. So $1,000 level, I think that's going to be key. This is a previous support that is held here in the past. You're going to want to see that hold. If we push higher into the 1,000 and reject it, then that is a very, very bearish thing. So let me go to the 1 minute. Yeah, you got some volume coming into Tesla right now. Is there news that just came out? I don't see it. SEC. So $1,000. I would look for right here. I think if we push back into that 1,000 this morning, guys, which is sort of that pre-market level, I think if we push into that 1,000, start to reject and move lower, I think that is going to be the sort of the death kiss for Tesla to the downside, because you definitely are going to want to see that break above 1,000. Yeah, I know it broke in the pre-market, guys, but sometimes the pre-market can really fake you out. I would not be... don't come into the day overly one-sided because of the pre-market. That is something that I have definitely done in the past, and that does not work. So the low of this candle was 978. 978 was the low of this candle. Look, you guys can see we're trying to hold it here. So 978 is the low of this candle, and that is exactly the level that we held this morning. So does this hold? That is going to be the key. If you see this break below this 978, that's the low of this candle right here, 978.60. 978.60. If you see that break, we went down to 979. If you see that break, the 978.60, then I think you probably get that gap fill. That's probably where you end up moving down to. This is the gap here. The start of the gap is 944. And the bottom of the gap is 909. No, I'm sorry, 910. So you have a gap between 910 and 944. That's right in this area. You guys can see it. That's that gap. If you break this low, which is 978.60, then it's probably where you start to move down to. So that's what I'd watch today, guys. 978.60, and see what it does here in the morning. I know it's ugly, but Tesla can fake you out. If it does continue lower, if it breaks that 978.60, then I bet you get your flush, if that's what you're looking for. All right, that's Tesla. NVIDIA. So ugly morning for NVIDIA along with other tech names. Here is the daily chart. Actually, you know what? We're going to go to 4 hour. Here it is, guys. Very key level. It's very clear. I mean, it's clear as day. Support, support, support. Is this turning to support? If not, it's very clear what's going to happen. It's going to flush. So this is a key level. 290s has to hold here. Not much else to say. You want to see it hold this 290. That's going to be key. If it does not hold the 290, you move lower. The daily chart had a gap, which you have officially filled. The gap started right here at around 305, and you are under that 305 now. So you are under that 305. You're back to this key support here around 290, 291. If we look at it this morning, it's very clear that it is very weak in the pre-market. 2 very large moves lower. If you do not hold this 290, I think you move lower. And if you do hold it, then you're probably going to find resistance at these previous lows right around here, right around this 301. So that's what I'd be watching. Previous lows as resistance if you move up, and then you're going to need to hold this 290 area. If this 290 breaks, then I think you get down. I think you move lower. So that's what I'd be watching. Quickly back to the daily chart. It's very clear. Actually, 4 hour. You can see right there. Must hold on NVIDIA today. All right. Upstart. So Upstart's been bad, just really ugly, right? The only thing that is, somewhat interesting is to see what it does here. I'm not trading it, but I'm definitely watching it. I want to see what it does at this level. I want to see if it holds this previous. I want to see if it holds this sort of this weekly uptrend. So here's the weekly chart on Upstart, and you guys can see this is like, what is this? If you ignore this week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's like 7 weeks of downside on Upstart. So you're right sort of at this pre-market level, this uptrend level, 1, 2, 3. Here it is again. You also have the 50 SMA in the weekly chart starting out here. So does this try to hold here on Upstart? Something I'm interested in. I'm not going to go throw my money into it on this type of move lower. There's nothing showing me to buy yet, but this is why I'm just sharing with you guys ideas. This is an idea that I would watch. Does it hold at this uptrend? If it does, there could be opportunity here. You guys can clearly see this uptrend is there. Let's see if it holds up. It's going to probably need a few days before looking at it, but that is something that I definitely am watching for sure. All right, XLF. So I don't have much reasoning for why you get strength here on the banks. The only reasoning I really have is the chart. And also a little bit of Dow outperformance. So Dow outperformance will definitely help the banks. When Dow moves higher, banks usually move higher as well. You get that bank move. So if you get that Dow outperformance, which we are seeing today, you could also maybe take advantage of this very, very weak XLF that we've seen. So we've had 6 weeks in a row of downside on the XLF on the financials, back to this 20 SMA on the weekly chart. The last times it was back at this 20 SMA, it ended up finding a very nice bounce. So do you find a bounce here on the XLF at the 20 SMA, which will help the banks? It will help Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Citibank. All of those banks will move higher if the XLF does as well. So this is something I'm keeping an eye out for. I'm not going to chase it, but I want to see if this moves. I like to see which sectors are heating up. So you have Goldman Sachs here. That's the weekly chart. JP Morgan sort of been pulling back for 6 weeks. Citibank's been dying here for about 6-7 weeks. Bank of America pulling back out of this breakout. Back to this, actually pretty nice right here. Look at this little maybe retest level to the 20 SMA. So little Bank of America pullback. So I'm definitely watching the financials today. I would watch them too, guys, to see what they do. Here's the XLF. This is the financial ETF. And let's see if this thing tries to hold today. You're up slightly in the pre-market. If we go to the daily chart, we can see you're trying to hold on to that 100. You're trying to hold on to that 100 right there. Trying to hold that 100 SMA. That's what I'd be watching. You can see the last times we broke near that 100, you got a very nice bounce on the XLF. That's what I keep an eye out for today. Watch those banks. Pepsi, very strong move on Pepsi. I'm not sure if I missed some kind of news on Friday, but this thing was very, very strong. So You can see Pepsi pulled back to the 50. Nice little retest. Wish I saw that. You guys can see that right there. Nice little previous retest zone. Pulled back to it, held it as support. Boom, right off the 50 SMA, and a huge day on Friday. Very strong. Here's the weekly chart. You guys can see, look at the 20 SMA in the weekly. Look at that wick off the 20 SMA in the weekly. That's crazy. Huge wick to the downside. Gets massively bought up off that 20 SMA on the weekly chart. Huge, huge candle, huge wick. I would assume this stays strong. I have to assume that this stays strong. That is a very bullish reaction last week. I would definitely watch Pepsi to see if this continues. Looks very strong regardless of what was happening Friday. Very strong wick on the weekly chart. I really like that. So this is Pepsi this morning. It is continuing. I think Pepsi could be very hot today. So watch PepsiCo. Yeah, Pepsi owns... No. Yes, Pepsi owns Dr. Pepper. Pepsi, Dr. Pepper is the same company. Pepsi owns Dr. Pepper. And then Coke is Pibb, Mr. Pibb. So, definitely a nice move here at 166.50. Strong move on Pepsi. I would definitely be watching that on Pepsi. All right. Roblox. I'm definitely watching Roblox. I'm not in Roblox, but I'm sort of liking this 4-hour flag. But if we do not hold this 110 area, then it's not gonna be good here, guys. So this 110 level is my last resort hold. If it does not hold today, then this is a no trade for me, because if it doesn't hold this 110, I'm not sure I see anything in this area I like, maybe besides these 92 lows right around here. So 110 today, I'm going to monitor it. If it holds up, great. If not, I'm not going to touch it. So Roblox may be a little flag. It's not that well defined. You can sort of see it here. It's also at this 20 SMA on the daily chart. So does it hold here? Does it try to hold this 110 and break out of this flag? That is something that I would be watching. So previous highs. Does it turn into support at 110? Something I'd watch today, guys. Not something I'd go buy right at open. That's not how you trade. You don't just buy this at open because it looks good. You know, wait to see if it holds up. Let it show you some support. Maybe let it get above some of these previous levels from last week. Let it show you some bullishness, and then see if it can get something going. But right now, nothing that makes me too bullish at the very, very least. 110 would be my level to watch this week. If that holds, then I'd be interested. All right. So that is what I have for you guys. I think some pretty decent watches. I like Pepsi. I like Costco. I like Home Depot the most. I like those Dow names this week. I'm definitely going to watch those. I'm definitely not loving tech. I would be very careful on tech. I do not think you just buy tech. I think you need to be careful of what the NASDAQ's doing. Does it hold 15.7 today? Does that 50 SMA start to hold? You can see it's trying to break above. It's trying to hold above that 15.7 today. I think the moment where I get a little bit more bullish on tech, guys, is if we actually make a higher high, because we have not made a higher high in about 2 weeks. So a higher high would come in right here around this 15.8 break. A higher high. I'm sorry, this is not a high. Yeah, this is a higher high versus this previous, not this one, but you can see this high here, a higher high here, maybe a support at 15.8, and then I start to try to push higher. That's something that I'd want to see. Until I see something like this, guys, I just don't think it's worth taking the shot to the upside on tech. I think you need to wait until you see some type of bullishness. It'll be clear when you see the bullishness, because if you look at this NASDAQ, the bullishness would come in if you break this level. This level is the break that turns bullish, I think. So 15.8, support, resistance. If you break that to the upside, I think that changes the tides just a little bit on the NASDAQ, maybe enough for you to catch something. That's the NASDAQ, that's tech. If that doesn't happen, then maybe that Dow rotation. That's sort of my feeling for today, guys. I hope that makes sense. That's my gut feeling for what we need to see on this market. I could be wrong. I could be right. If you come back here and you tell me I'm wrong, then you just have a terrible attitude. I can't predict the future. I can only show you what I'm looking at with some technical levels, where I think the market could switch. That's really all I could help, right? So let's go ahead and quickly look at some of the stuff the members want to look at. We did Roblox, so hopefully whoever put that in, we looked at that. Let's go ahead and do the rest. So Lulu, first one here on Lulu. If you guys could go ahead and press that like button for me, that would be fantastic. That would really help me out, grow this live stream, grow the channel. Some of your support, it goes such a long way, guys. So thank you guys so much. If you could press that like button, it really, really does help. So Lulu, I love this. I mean, I buy Lulu every week. If you guys are not familiar, I buy this stock every week in my M1 Finance account. I love M1. I probably should put like a link to M1 if you guys are interested. So yeah, I buy Lulu every week. I love this play long term. You guys, I'm wearing Lulu. It's all I wear. I love their clothing. I know it's very expensive. I know it's a little bougie for some people, but it really does. It's worth it to me, man. It doesn't shrink. It stays perfect. It's soft. Everything about the clothes are just, I love them. I have like 5 Lulu shirts that I continue to wear. I just wash it. I wear the 5 shirts. I wash them. I wear them again. And they never shrink. They never do anything. I can't say enough about Lulu. I love their clothing. So nice pullback. Nice hold here at this previous high. This is very interesting. The only problem is that you are coming into earnings. So what do? Do you play this into earnings? I would not. I'll hold it with my shares, but am I going to play it with options into earnings? Probably not. So you can potentially have a nice trade here, though, off this previous high. You guys can see highs, pull back to that retest. That's actually something I'd be interested in today. So watch that. Watch this retest. The next one that you guys have is Square. PA, if you want, just go look at my Square video yesterday. I made a video on it. How do I wash it? I don't know. I forgot how to wash clothes. So you have Square, a little bit downside this morning. I would just, if Square breaks under these lows, guys, it's going to be more downside. No, I don't dry it. I air dry my Lululemon. So 174, if you break that on Square, there's downside. Square's just been a terrible stock. If you get NASDAQ weakness today, Square's going to continue lower. Square's just bad. It's just really bad. So I would not be looking for bullishness on Square. Even if you get a pop, I don't think I would trust it. If you look to the downside, break of 174 here, that gets you more downside, PA. MRVL. So MRVL had earnings last week. It had a huge gap up. I would not be buying this up here. No way. I would be looking for a pullback to fill this gap. That would be what I would be looking for here, guys. So I'd look for the gap fill to the downside before touching this MRVL. No, I do not. I air dry Lululemon. I've heard it's not good to dry it, so I don't dry it. PayPal, similar to Square, right? So right here, you guys can see 1, 2, 3. I would probably be waiting for PayPal to come back to this level, 173, 175. I'm probably not going to touch PayPal till I see it down there, personally. GameStop, you have earnings. Your best is as good as mine. That's all I really got for you. I don't know how I can't really do anything with this chart. It's just sideways. Maybe it finds some type of bounce off this 165 low. It has earnings this coming week. Maybe you get an earnings move. It's down 10 points in the pre-market today. Jesus. Yeah, so I'd stay away from that. GameStop, no interest. ChargePoint has earnings this week. Again, guys, there's nothing I can tell you about earnings. Earnings are earnings. I can't predict what happens on their earnings. So maybe watch that $20 level. That's where I've had this support zone. Stitch Fix, just a terrible stock. Absolutely terrible stock. This thing went from $113 to $20. I would not even be looking at this. It has earnings. Maybe it pops on earnings. The last 3 names I've looked at have earnings this week, guys. I cannot predict what happens on earnings. So yeah, not really that interested in those. Let's quickly jump over to AbbVie just because I want to show you guys. This stock has been sweet. I've been in a January call option on AbbVie since around September, October. Had a beautiful move off earnings, up about 100% on it. I'm going to continue to hold it for now. I'm going to see if it can start to break out of this little area. If it starts to reject here again, then I'll probably take my profits. But right now I'm in a January, I think I'm in a January 110. Yeah, I'm in a January 110 call. I could exercise these because AbbVie is not a bad stock to have shares of, especially at 110. So maybe I exercise my AbbVie call options. I'll see. I'll keep you guys updated. But I like it. It's up to 119 this morning. All right, that's it, guys. If you guys want to join the Discord chat, first link down below. If you want to become a member of the channel, press that join button down below. You get to put your. This is what it looks like. You get to put your tickers here every day, and I'll look at them for you. If you want to join, it's down below. You press the join button. Thank you guys for being here. Press that like button if you could. Subscribe to the channel. Shout out to our stream sponsor, MSI. I'm going to try to do a giveaway for like Christmas with MSI. So I'm going to reach out to them. Maybe they'll help us out with some goodies for a giveaway. So shout out to MSI for sponsoring the stream. Desi After Dark, fashion, skincare, health, pillow chop training. Yep. That's a great channel idea. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Press that like button if you could, and maybe we get to 500 likes. I haven't been at 500 likes in a long time. So if you enjoyed today's stream, that would be very, very much appreciated. Hope you guys have a great trading day. Be safe out there. Look for those NASDAQ levels. Wait for the NASDAQ levels to tell you what to do. That's what I'm doing. All right, guys. Peace out.